Having stuck my thumb out on the N1 highway outside Cape Town, a red Toyota Bucky stops and gives me a lift all the way 1,500 kilometers to Pretoria, where I wait for my next transport at the Pretoria train station.
Santon, Marlborough, Midrand, Centurion.
As we approach Maputo, the weather becomes warmer until finally it is downright hot and humid. I while away some time at the Continental Cafe in the Baixa, Maputo's downtown, watching the world go by, before getting on a bus to go over 500 kilometers north to Vilanculos. It's 1996, soon after the war ended, and the roads are very quiet in Mozambique. I put up my tent at a place on the beach called Sambiri Lodge. Two English girls are propping up the rustic bar. They are proud of having swindled the British taxpayer. They are getting a UK housing allowance even though they are not in the UK. This £1,500 per annum they are spending on an extended tropical holiday. The next bus ride is long, and it is loud, distorted speaker loud. I am talking Whitney Houston distorted speaker loud for most of the day, and it is the same Whitney Houston tape, played again and again. With some relief, I alight at the tiny town of Dondo. My relief doesn't last long. I check into the hotel, which is in a poor state. The room is dirty and threadbare, there is no running water, and the bathroom is beyond description. I awaken at 4 a.m. and I walk out the hotel in the early morning darkness and see a large white Toyota truck whose noisy diesel engine is idling. I walk up to the driver and ask for a lift to Kiliman. He says yes and gestures for me to sit in the cab with him. We depart immediately, but it's not long before the first of many breakdowns or getting stuck in the mud. That is despite being the dry season and the driver stopping before each muddy section to check for the best route. Well, these are beautiful places to while away the time. During one of these roadside stops, bored, I walk into the wilderness because I had spotted railway tracks about 100 meters from the road. I am almost at the railway tracks when I hear shouting, "Perigo, minas!" All the passengers are shouting at me. It takes a while for me to understand. Danger, landmines. But, being young and foolhardy, I walk another 10 meters, take a photograph of the railway line, and then return, retracing my steps through the bush back to the road. We reach the Zambezi River at Kaya, where it is stinking hot. Here we wait for the pontoon to take us over. These days there is a bridge. Three days and nights later, we get to Kiliman, where I stare wistfully at cheap Chinese motorbikes in shop windows, before getting into the back of another truck for the next leg north. Every 30 meters there is a ditch across the road that the truck has to slow down to walking pace to cross. It's a remnant from the war that ended in 1991. One of the ways Renamo destabilized the country was to slow down transport by blowing up these ditches in tar roads. Having crossed the 3-kilometer-long single-lane bridge that links mainland Mozambique with the famed Ilha de Mozambique, I set out to explore. Mozambique was a Portuguese colony for nearly 500 years, and Ilha was the colonial capital for the first 400 years. When the capital was moved south, Ilha went into decline. On the northern tip of the island is the 500-year-old fort with its atmospheric chapel. Slightly further north from Ilha is Pemba town. I have the fortune of meeting Alvaro, a young Mozambican who invites me to stay with him and shows me around town. Alvaro helps me to try and find a boat east to the Comores Islands, but after 3 days of visiting the captain, it doesn't look like the boat is going to leave. So, continuing north, I travel in the usual mini trucks with wooden benches in the back. I subsist on bread and bananas for days. Sometimes these trucks are so full of people I can't see daylight, but everyone is always warm, friendly and helpful. I get dropped off at the junction town of Inhawasi, and I'm invited to spend the night in the village as no vehicles come past. I sleep on a hand-woven bed outside and see 4 shooting stars before falling asleep. The next morning, my host wakes me at dawn, and I find myself in the front seat of a brand new truck, listening to Kenny G all the way to Mocimboa da Praia, which is swelteringly hot. The mood is listless, the heat shimmering. The following morning, I travel on a sandy trek up to the Rovuma River. As I settle into the back of the 4x4 pickup, one of the men boisterously says in Swahili, "Hello, Mr. Mzungu. Hello, Mr. White Man." I get some laughs from my probably unexpected response of, "Hello, Mr. Mwa Africa. Hello, Mr. Black Man." After passing through immigration, which is a table under a tree, I negotiate a ride over the Rovuma River to Tanzania. Today there is a bridge. From Mtwara in southern Tanzania, I take a ferry up the coast to Dar es Salaam. And I have included these shots of Dar es Salaam because it was such a quiet and seemingly deserted city back then compared to the hustle and bustle, traffic and pedestrians of today, following economic liberalization from the 1990s onwards.